The Hawaii Sports Radio Network on 95.1 FM and AM 760 presents Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani.
Good morning, beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den. I'm Ku'ule Agbayani alongside Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel as we do this and every Monday morning. And you can also obviously listen to us live every single weekday from 8 to 10. Thank you for hanging out with us and welcome to the show. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to recap. Whew! We're going to have a fun one today, everybody, and we appreciate you for joining us. Before we kind of get into everything, we'll get into a lot of football, obviously, but for those of you tuning in on YouTube, it's kind of throwing me off in my peripheral looking at our little switchboard here with the Paul and my close-up frame because, well, one, let's give a shout-out to our newest studio piece in the wide shot. For those of you watching, we have our Laura Beeman bobblehead that is making an appearance now because it is hoops season. As we know, the Rainbow Wahine get in action tomorrow, just like the UH men's basketball team. But today, Paul and I are essentially matching because we are repping our Hawaii Pacific University basketball t-shirts. We did not plan this, by the way. I was thinking Paul, and Paul has his on too. Same thing, same grade, like design, exact same shirt.
That's the funny part to me.
Exact same shirt. Because we did get a couple of variations. And for both of us to walk in with the same one, again, the men's basketball team for HPU is in action this afternoon, 4 o'clock p.m. Hawaii time, but they were playing at Boise State. You can watch it on the Mountain West Network. But yes, Paul and I came unplanned, and I wasn't even going to text him. I'm like, let's just see what happens. Funny. And I was thinking, because you wore HPU shirt last week, and I was like, I wonder if he's going to wear one 2 weeks in a row on the Monday. Put mine on. I'm like, I'm not going to text him. We're not going to plan it. We'll just see what happens. And then Paul walks in, exact same HPU basketball shirt. I shouldn't be as surprised, but you just never know.
So
and it is.
It's the fact that it's the exact same shirt, the color, the design, all of that. Because I think I probably have double-digit HPU shirts at this point, and most of them are basketball shirts. Like I have at least, I can think of 7 different HPU men's basketball shirts in my closet, and I just did laundry. So I had all of them at my disposal. So the fact that it is the exact same shirt, the fact that it wasn't planned, the fact that our thought process on putting it on was the exact same. It was just very, very funny. It was a great way to start Monday, and like you said, a packed Monday, a lot to talk about after what was another wild, wild weekend of sports, but it was a good chuckle to come into on this Monday morning.
Yeah, we have our friend Lord Schaefer already in the YouTube chat, so if you guys want to chime in, feel free. You can text us at 808-888-KGU1. That's 808-888-5481. And again, there's so much to talk about. He's mentioning that, man, what a tipsy-turvy week in football, both NCAA and NFL, yes. And of course, we definitely need to talk a lot about the University of Hawaii loss at San Jose State, which we will get to coming up in this hour. Don't you worry. There's we got 2 hours to kind of have our therapeutic session here, recapping that game. But, I mean, I think you were doing the same thing, Paul. While I was watching the UH game, I had the UH game on my big screen, and then on the computer screen, I had Game 7 of the World Series. So you had Game 7 going on, which was wild, extra innings, a lot of different controversies in that, which we will get to as well, because it kind of has to deal with one of the local boys here. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, never know. Still lost. That's the whole point. Other ways to win, just like with the UH game, there were so many opportunities to win, and you know what? You didn't come out on top. But I'm happy that my neighbors didn't complain and I never got checked on, because the amount of yelling I was doing in between watching the football game, watching the World Series, And maybe this is where it benefits that I am a little ADD because I had sound on both games. And I was able to almost watch both games simultaneously. Like, it was not... I could pay attention to both games. It was crazy. But what a sports weekend. And then you got the NFL. And then as a Chicago Bears fan and all the other Chicago Bears fans out there, it was nice to be on the winning side of a wild last 2.5 minutes of an NFL game. All I could think about was this is going to end badly for the Bears. They're going to end up losing because that's just the way that it happens most of the time. So it was nice to be on the winning end of that. And just to kind of share a little bit example for you guys, just exactly how the ending of the Chicago Bears game went. Here's my tweet proof that I was going through it. I said, thank you. I said, thank you, Bears. This was on here, timestamp 25 minutes. And I think there was maybe about 5 minutes left in the actual game itself. So it's thank you, Bears. You know, the teary-eyed, happy face emoji with the bear emoji. And then I retweeted it. And I'm like, I should have known better with the melting face. What a tragic defensive meltdown.
It was pretty brutal.
That was maybe like about 17 minutes after the first tweet about being happy. Because there was like, first we thought it was like a pick six. And then it was like, it got called back. Then there was another interception, got called back. And then they finally intercepted it again. And you're like, all right, we got this. And then there were so many things that happened. Onside kick that was recovered, didn't go 10 yards, but bounced wrong, hit the foot of a Bears player. Bengals recover. It was just a whole... Bengals were driving so easily. Your girl was going through it. And then at the end, the Bears ended up winning because Caleb Williams found Loveland, finally the top draft pick for the Bears, did something, bounced off a couple of defenders, found the end zone. Bears win. And I'm like, never a doubt.
Never a doubt.
Never a doubt.
Didn't even sweat it.
Bear down. Yeah, that's never a doubt, Paul, ever. I mean, you're always worried. I am never worried.
Correct.
So that just capped off the crazy type of weekend, as if I didn't already have a wild Saturday afternoon evening of watching Game 7 and UH football, rolling into the first set of NFL games in the morning, wild weekend, and then the rest of the NFL slate. And what a weekend, Paul. What a hello, sports. I love you. I hate you. I can't quit you. Yeah.
Well, the Jets haven't lost in 2 weeks,
Yay!
so I'm flying high for the most part, and I guess in a sense that's why UH had to go and lose, because only one of my green teams can
Paul.
not lose, I guess, or something during the week. I don't know. Either way, yeah, a wild weekend. I was incredibly worried for you as that Bears game was going on. I was very excited for Colston Loveland, being that he got the surprise start this week for my fantasy team after not being playable for most of the year. I didn't even realize I played him. He's in a league where I have like 3 tight ends, and one of them's hurt and the other one's on a bye week, so I guess I had to put him in, and hell of a week to have to put him in. So, yeah, bear down. Go Bears. Never a doubt. Never a doubt. It was the most sure thing of a win that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
clearly.
I never worried ever about the Bears. Like I said, it was really weird to be on the winning end of that. Flashbacks, it rarely ever goes well for us. Paul knows that feeling all too well. Being a Jets fan, you're used to seeing very exciting games. You're just used to being on the losing end of it. So that's all I could think about was, especially, I mean, they were up by like a couple of scores when I tweeted, thank you, Bears, because
they were up
I was
a couple
basically
of scores and got an interception, if I'm not mistaken. Like
that is why I'm like, thank you, Bears, because thank you them. After seeing UH lose, I'm like, all right, at least my NFL team is going to win today.
Right. And so the funny thing is, I told you this, one of my buddies from home is a Bears fan.
Yeah.
And he is almost exactly having the same reaction that you are through this whole thing, where you texted our group chat like, oh, go Bear, like, you know, whatever about the Bears before the game was over. And right around that same time, he had sent us a voice memo that goes, duh! And we're always supposed to answer back, obviously, with Bears. And then to see the meltdown that he was having, talking about this sport sucks. I can't believe anybody cares about football. And then the Bears won. The never a doubt text hits extra hard every single time for those. It really was very funny to see two people who have no idea about the existence of the other, both connected by their tragic fandom of the Bears coming and pulling through in the last moment.
It was again, at least it helped to cap off like a football weekend that we're going through it on Saturday, I tell you, because the amount of yelling I was doing at my TV, the amount of texting, we were like, it was a lot to take away, especially a weekend to add to the craziness of a football weekend, going back to NCAA, going back to specifically Mountain West on Saturday, knowing what we already knew with UH prepared to play San Jose State, Boise State going down, Fresno State going down. And I even posted about it. I'm like, all right, if it already didn't matter to win this game at San Jose State, the stakes have leveled up, because should Hawaii have won, I think the calculations would have put them like a share at the number 2 spot, I think, in the Mountain West, right? Because that would be San Diego State. Well, at the time, it depends, but San Diego State did win. So either way, San Diego State would be the number 1, and Hawaii would essentially have gotten the share of a number 2 spot, continuing our narrative and manifestation of punching a ticket into the Mountain West Conference Championship, especially when you have San Diego State coming in this weekend. So it was a lot, and for the game to go how it went and for things to happen the way that it did, obviously Hawaii losing 45-38, we, and I'm sure a lot of Hawaii fans, we're going through it. So we are going to take a break, and we are going to talk about that next when we come back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Thank you for hanging out with us. All right, now we are going to get to the nitty-gritty. I know the number one discussion amongst the Hawaii fandom is that loss that the Rainbow Warriors suffered on the road at San Jose State, 45-38. It was a tough one. It was a tough one because it wasn't as if I mean, we've been talking about San Jose State offense a lot ever since the beginning. Craig Sussman, ever since last season. He's leading a good offense, calling great plays, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I've talked about it at the beginning of this season when I saw Danny Scudero, yada, yada, yada. Walker Eget, he's a solid quarterback, but isn't like this dual threat that tends to torch Hawaii that we've seen. And yet I still believed, and we talked about it a lot on the show last week, that this was going to be a high-scoring game. Both offenses are potent. But we collectively in the studio felt like, okay, the defense for the University of Hawaii has been so solid throughout the season, has been so solid on the road that we have seen. Yes, this is the best offense they've faced on the road, but nonetheless, like, they are a solid defense, for Hawaii. So I said it last week, it's going to come to who can have the most stops, and I felt that the University of Hawaii had a better defense. I thought both offenses, and we've said this, on paper, very evenly matched. Timmy mentioned this last week, where it's like both offenses, by Timmy's offense and Craig's offense, they are very, very similar, and there is some crossover. But I still feel like both offenses are great. Both play callers so far this season, it looked great for Timmy, obviously, because it won us games. And I truly felt that our defense was the one just going to get at least that one more stop or something, right? Like that one more thing. And it was just uncharacteristic than what we saw this season from the penalties that Hawaii had, because we talked about it even on the road and home. They have been so good so far that they've been very, very disciplined this season. I don't know if maybe the offense and, defensive line maybe just came in a little hot. There was a ton of offsides calls in like that first drive by San Jose State on us. There was a couple of just all these false start. There were just so many penalties that were just hard to take in. 11 penalties for 80 yards for Hawaii, when lately they've been relatively good. Only a few penalties for less than or 20 yards or less. And then on San Jose State side, keeping it to under 50 yards in penalties, 6 penalties for 48 yards. But the stat that stands out the most, and why it's just it feels like a gut punch, where 630 yards of offense, total offense, San Jose State put up on this Hawaii defense that has been so solid. You told me that San Jose State was going to put up 400 something, maybe even low fives. I would be yeah, they have a really good offense. They have solid players. They have a good quarterback, yada, yada, yada. But on the flip side, you tell me that Micah Alihado passes for over 300 yards again, passes for 3 touchdowns. And I would have thought, yeah, our defense totally did enough in whatever game this was, that I have no idea what the final score is, for Hawaii to come out with the win. And sadly, that did not happen on Saturday. Now, I know the difference in scoring. There was that one, or San Jose State was able to score that touchdown and capitalize off of that Landon Sims fumble. You can say that's the difference in scoring, but there were so many opportunities for Hawaii. And at the flip side, there were so many opportunities for the defense to get a stop on San Jose State. And I don't know. I don't know if they just seemed a bit... It's almost two parts. They seemed overzealous at times because, again, there were a lot of, and credit to the hard counts that were being done by Walker Eget, that was kind of throwing off our line a little bit, our defensive line. Some parts felt overzealous, and then some parts felt lackadaisical in terms of why isn't there more sense of urgency on some tackles, why all of a sudden we can't wrap up as much as we've been used to seeing this defense do. Where is the secondary in terms of positioning on some instances, right? I know there's some talk about the play calling and everything like that, but and I can't speak too much to the defensive scheme, because from our vantage point, I can't see the whole field, so you don't really know everything. I'm just looking at what the camera shot gives me. And it was just, I think that's the part that was frustrating, because it felt like we got beat by a team that we still should have beat. And no disrespect, all the credit to San Jose State, to that offense. But this was the game where you're like, dang, it feels like they just didn't have that extra oomph, which is funny to use that word because that's what Craig Stutzman used in describing what meaning this game would be and what this game meant. It was just a tough watch because there were so many frustrating things about the defensive side specifically of this football game.
Which sucks because they started so well.
Yes.
They forced 2 punts right away. They gave an opportunity for the team to take a 2-possession lead after they score a touchdown on their opening drive. And then, as you mentioned, after that Landon Sims fumble, it seemed that things really changed. The momentum flipped in favor of San Jose State, and Hawaii did pick themselves up off the mat. I don't want that to go, unsaid, because the second half, they won the second half. It was 24-14. There's a reason it was so close after such a disastrous second quarter. You can't get outscored 24-7 in the second quarter. You can't give up 20 plus points in a quarter. 24 points in a quarter is unacceptable, no matter what. In this game, you had 9 different passing plays of over 25 yards for San Jose State. Walker Eget was a 50% completion percentage in this game and threw for the second highest career total. He's a redshirt senior. The most he ever put up was against Stanford earlier this year. This would have been a career high otherwise. It was just an unbelievably bad performance from the defense, which, like you said, was the most shocking thing because going into this game, you understood that both offenses were dynamic. You understood that Hawaii had started to roll offensively a bit more. You understood that the defense had started to pick things up. We've talked about how comfortable they feel now in year 2 under Dennis Thurman. And, the bye week, it makes them healthier and, it gives you time to prepare. So for them to put up a first half stinker, they got up 31 points in the first half. I don't even know if they did that. Let's check. Did they even do that against Arizona earlier this season?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like that's
No, Arizona put up 17 in the first half.
So that's why I couldn't believe what I was watching because we were like, someone that suited up there. UH made San Jose State look like, and I think I texted this in our group chat. I'm like, did we just play a P4 offense? No, we did not. And again, to be fair, there were some insane catches.
They were a great plays. Don't get us wrong.
Yeah, there were some that I forget which one. It was one. Bad job by me. Like who the player was. I know it wasn't Scudero, but there was one where it was maybe like a couple of yards outside of the end zone and covered perfectly.
I think you're talking about Kyrie Scholes.
Probably caught it up there. I thought it was defended fine and he was able to hold on to the football. So there were some phenomenal plays. And there was that one where it was early on in the first quarter probably where one of the players looked like he was out of bounds. Debatable still to this day. But brilliant catch going out of bounds, able to get them a lot of yardage. So there was a lot of explosive plays that were, I don't want to say lucky because it takes a lot of skill to catch football like that.
Yeah,
but defended well by the secondary. And then San Jose State was just able to have that little extra motivation that allowed them to secure these footballs. But you're talking, all right, you knew there was going to be explosive plays. I mean, Hawaii had that explosive play of their own, answering back right away with Jackson Harris.
And then there was an explosive play right back.
Yes. And you're just like, what is going on right now?
So the issue, too, is that explosive plays happen. That's just kind of football in general. It's that a lot of them were explosive plays for a touchdown or explosive plays that directly led to a touchdown 1 or 2 plays later, where how many times this season have we seen this Hawaii defense get out there and they get their heels up against their own end zone, but then they make a stop and they force a field goal attempt. And then that way, obviously, 7 is more than 3, so you give your offense an opportunity to go outscore the other team, and that just didn't happen in this game because it was either they gave up a touchdown or they ended up forcing a punt or a turnover on downs. You lost the turnover battle overall because you were unable to get back the Landon Sims fumble, and I mean that's the difference in the game. It's unfortunate, but that's the difference in the game is we talk about all the time. Ball control and penalties. Hawaii lost both of them in this game. And go figure, you lose a shootout in which your offense plays phenomenal. Micah Alejado, no interceptions in this one. 3 touchdowns. You had a trick play from Tamu Uliata, who made a great throw for a big explosive of Hawaii's own, right?
Yep.
I mean, Hawaii had 2 receivers with 100-plus receiving yards of themselves. It just... The defense in the second quarter was unacceptable. It really, really was. And then the offense, I don't want to completely exonerate them from this because they only put up 7 points in the second quarter. They didn't... Part of what made me feel so confident going into this game, and you can go back and listen to it, I said it, where I feel confident that even in drives that Hawaii's offense doesn't find the end zone, they're going to be able to scrounge up 3 points because they have Kansei Matsuzawa. Kansei only got one opportunity, and it was a chip shot field goal at the end of the game. You know, he didn't really play much of an impact in this one. That would have been the most shocking thing to me, is that you had no opportunity to use one of your biggest advantages over another team. So it's a frustrating loss for a lot of reasons, and I know that the defense is going to take a lot of flack today and this week because obviously it was their worst performance of the year. It was. And that's just the fact of the matter. I don't think they're going to run from that. I don't think that they are hiding from that fact, and I think that you'll see them come back this week with an impressive effort. They're going to certainly need it against the San Diego State team, who is at the top of the Mountain West Conference. The reason you see so much frustration, whether it's on social media, over these waves, over other waves, on TV, wherever it may be, is because of the opportunity that slipped through the cracks now for Hawaii because of this loss, because they either weren't ready, because they didn't take them seriously, because they just had a bad performance, whatever it may be. The opportunity that was lost, or that seems to have been lost because of it, I think that is where the frustration comes from fans, media, and I'm sure inside the UH building as well today.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely not happy with that performance. And you're right, just to add on to your point, where just the way that the day started, again, with Boise State losing, with Fresno State losing, Hawaii had the opportunity to put themselves in like a share of the number 2 spot in the Mountain West. San Diego State coming into town this weekend. If Hawaii were to beat San Diego State, who is at number 1 alone now in the Mountain West, you would all of a sudden catapult yourself to potentially a tie of the number 1 spot.
And then Boise State, San Diego State still have to play this season.
And so you're looking at, wow, this opportunity that not only, yes, to play in the Mountain West Championship game, but to potentially host it here in Hawaii. Like, that's something we didn't even speak about in 2019, the last time Hawaii did make it into the conference championship, because Boise was doing Boise things. So it's almost like penciled in that, all right, the Mountain West Championship game is going to be at Boise. This was a year that we were talking about for early on. Like, there's so much parity this year, especially when it looked like Boise was not the same without Ashton Jainty, and
now Maddox Madsen hurt for them as well.
So it's still wide open. But now you're almost still trying to cling for that second spot in the Mountain West. Obviously, you need to take care of business this Saturday against San Diego State, but that's part of the frustration. And the other part is because of the expectation of that defense. Like, I will still say that on paper, they're a way better team. Okay, maybe not way better, but they're a better team collectively than San Jose State. But I also said it last week. The game is not played on paper, and we saw that they're played with humans, and humans just sometimes have bad games and make mistakes and cost you games and all of those things. So that's why, for me, it's more frustrating, because my expectation for this unit, offense, defense, special teams, is so high this season. It's the best team Timmy Chang has ever had. Like, there's no argument about that. It's the best team collectively we've ever seen under head coach Timmy Chang. And when you match it up with San Jose State for all of the good that they're doing there, I still believe that Hawaii is mo better, but it just didn't show up on Saturday. And that is the biggest frustration, because I know there's stuff about the clock management at the end and no sense of urgency, all of that.
That's another conversation.
But I think you are spot on with, you cannot have the type of second quarter that you did, where you at least, one, defensively give up 24 points in that single quarter. Two, the offense not being able to at least somewhat match the pace of San Jose State and put up even one more touchdown. We're having a different game. The game gets managed differently in the end if they're tied, right?
Like, and that was where I was going to go about it's a different conversation about the time management at the end, because that was absolutely frustrating. The lack of urgency by the Rainbow Warriors to close this game was baffling. I like, there's no other word for it. It just looked like they didn't really have a care in the world. And then they still, by the way, they still had an opportunity at the onside kick.
Yes.
Like, it just squirted out of bounds and whatever. I don't want to talk about that. But, the conversation, the reason I harp on that second quarter so much is sit here and think about if the defense turns one of those touchdowns into just a field goal. Think about if the offense sustains a drive and now San Jose State doesn't have as much time to put up as many points in that quarter. And just the amount of changes, if that quarter instead of 24-7 is 21-14, is 17-10, it's a totally different ball game heading into the second half. It was an unacceptable second quarter. It took Hawaii too long to pick themselves up off the mat on defense, and offensively, they did not pick up their defense in that second quarter. So, frustrating loss. It is what it is now, right? You can't go back and change it. You have another really difficult opponent coming into this, I keep wanting to say the Stand. Basketball season's here. Coming into TC Ching this weekend. So you got to flush it. You got to be ready to turn around and hope that, wild Mountain West this year, there's some more tricks over these final few weeks. And if you just keep on winning, then who knows? Maybe a chance still presents itself.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. Maybe hosting is out of the question for the Mountain West Championship, but getting in is still very much alive. Need some help from other teams, and you need to do yourself a favor and win against San Diego State.
More losses.
That will be the major thing. If they can win against San Diego State coming into town, then we're talking a different story. Then we'll have another party on next week, Monday. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get you caught up with what had happened in the Mountain West over this weekend, what the updated standings are now, and how great Hawaii chances could be to still make it in there in the conference championship game. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautiful list of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den, Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. HawaiiSportsRadio.com, on demand wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming live on our YouTube channel as we do this and every Monday. Oh, you can say hi, Paul, there. You can say hi. No, other one. He wanted to make sure he said hi to the camera as I said that. No, but thank you guys for tuning in. It's a brand new day. We will, well, like I was saying before, in what the past few weeks, right, when there was certain mistakes in the UH game that UH did, we didn't really dwell on it too much, and we celebrated the wins because I had said there will be times to be critical, and we will talk about it when we need to. And today was the day that we needed to talk about it because it did not result in a win. The mistakes happened, and Hawaii did not come out with the win. So it was time to be kind of look at all of these little things, still keep the expectation very high. As you were saying in the previous segment, Paul, I'm sure fans were frustrated. We were frustrated watching certain parts of that game, but definitely the most frustrated are the coaches, the players, right? They're going to be hard on themselves as well because they know what happened and what they let potentially slip away. But you can do the greatest thing ever and beat the number one team in the conference, San Diego State, coming into town this Saturday. Now they are alone at the top of the Mountain West. They came out with a 24-7 win not in Wyoming, but against Wyoming. But looking at the other top teams that were ahead of us was the surprising thing, and Fresno State beat Boise State 30-7. And UNLV lost to New Mexico 40-35. So those are the two teams that we're somewhat competing with the top of the Mountain West. Hawaii still, though, at the fourth spot in the Mountain West Conference standing. San Diego State at the top. Boise State right behind them at 4-1. Fresno State right there at 3-2, along with Hawaii and with New Mexico of all teams. And then you got UNLV, Dan Mullen, who there's talks of Dan Mullen potentially being poached for one of these job openings, and UNLV's in the middle of there. And UNLV is a team that Hawaii is going to play in a few weeks. But that's where we were saying, should Hawaii have won, they would have been at 4-1. So they would have been up there with Boise State, which would have been a crazy thing to say when the season started. But San Diego State is at the top. So Hawaii has an opportunity now this Saturday to start to throw a bit more craziness into the wild, wild west of the Mountain West. And it is a winnable game. Like, that's the thing. It is a winnable game against San Diego State. They do have a very, very good defense up there with like a Fresno State type of defense, potentially a little bit better, a little more disciplined. Offensively, they're pretty strong as well. But this is an opportunity. Again, Hawaii has the chance to continue to keep their hopes alive to make it into the Mountain West Championship game should they take care of business this Saturday against San Diego State.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. This is still a winnable game. As much as we're going to give respect to San Diego State, as much as they deserve the respect from what they've done so far this season, as we've seen in the conference, nobody's infallible, right? Everybody is at some point weak, and everybody can lose. And if Hawaii is able to come out with a victory this weekend, then all of a sudden you really do throw a wrench right back into things, because as I mentioned before, San Diego State, their schedule is not exactly a walk in the park. They have Hawaii, obviously, in the islands, never a fun trip for an opposing team. They still have Boise State coming on up. They still have to play against San Jose State, which, as we saw, San Jose State on any given weekend can put up a hell of a fight. And then they also have to face off against New Mexico. I believe this is in New Mexico. Yeah, at New Mexico, which, as we've seen, the Lobos are not ones to mess with this year. Jason Eck has been phenomenal, I think, for them. They have just clinched a record to go bowling. So, I mean, just overall, the entire conference is strong. I mean, like, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams are already bowl eligible in the Mountain West. That's pretty impressive at this point, right? And I mean, listen, it is the point of the year where you're bowl eligible and you're fighting for a higher bowl, or you know that you're going to be fighting for your eligibility life. But it's nice to be on that top side. And what I'm getting at with all these matchups, still Fresno State in there as well. is that there still could be a lot of random one-off losses that you weren't necessarily expecting. Like, I don't know if you should sit here and think, oh, San Diego State's ending the year with a spotless regular season record in the Mountain West. That would be honestly pretty surprising to me. Not because I don't think San Diego State's good, but because I have so much respect for the Mountain West and the parity week over week and how difficult it is to just continue to. I mean, shoot, we just saw Boise, and obviously there were some injuries and whatnot, but nonetheless, Boise, they lost at home.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
was like 16-game win streak snap, something like that.
It was one of the top win streaks at home in the nation, and that was snapped this weekend. So this year has shown you anything. It is that on any given weekend, anybody can win, which is why it's so important for Hawaii to now show up over these final 3 games. You can't afford another loss if you really do want to have that dark horse bid into the Mountain West Conference Championship. Like you said, hosting's probably off the table at this point. And that's more to me just because I think 2 losses makes it a little difficult with all the tiebreakers.
I was like, and at that point, we were just being greedy.
Well, yes.
We were just getting our hopes up that they would make it in. And now when we were talking about, hosting, we're like, we're just being greedy there.
Yes,
we just want to make it in.
To be fair, yes, it's a little bit greedy on that side. But even so, with 2 losses, I mean, you have Fresno State, New Mexico, and UNLV all with 2 losses. Also, I think San Jose State, Utah State, all with 2 losses right now. So a lot of different teams vying for a spot in the championship. Not a lot of teams vying for true host privileges. That's reserved more for when you have just 1 loss, sadly.
But, I mean, like you said, things could get interesting even when we're talking about San Diego State because they're not necessarily entirely, well, they had a couple of blowouts, but they're not as scary as, say, like a Boise State was last year with Ashton Jainty, right? Like, so they're defensively pretty scary. They have a couple of guys that are probably going to get drafted in the NFL type of talent. Trey White is one of them that... I'm happy Mike Alejado has quick processing because he is going to be entirely under pressure this weekend trying to ward off.
They also have the best cornerback in the Mountain West and maybe in the country. Like, he's just so good. I think his name's Chris Johnson, and he just... You talk about it, NFL prospect. He's a guy that will legitimately get day 1, day 2 buzz just for how good he has been. It's going to be really, really important for Hawaii to take care of the ball in this game because, like you said, the offense is pretty solid for San Diego State, but the defense especially. I mean, we saw what they did to Jaren Keave, Songapolo Tele, and Cal. They really made a rough day for them. So Hawaii's got to be ready. That's what I'll say.
I'm curious now because I'm looking at San Diego State's record. So, I mean, not record, but who their loss is. They only have 1 loss on this season, undefeated in the Mountain West, but their 1 loss was the second game of the season to Washington State. They lost 36-13 in that one. Blew out Stony Brook to open the season. The Northern Illinois game was interesting because that score was 6-3, where that's where I still wasn't sure what kind of team San Diego State was, especially offensively / what kind of team Northern Illinois was, because at this point, Northern Illinois, they haven't been that great of a team. They won most recently against Ball State 21-7. They lost at Ohio before that 48-21. So they're not exactly haven't had a great year so far in the MAC, Northern Illinois potential or future Mountain West opponent, of course. So that's where I just had a hard time making out what this San Diego State team is, but they're undefeated for a reason. They shut out Fresno State 23-0. Before beating Wyoming. They beat Nevada, blew them out, but Nevada is definitely the bottom of the Mountain West this year. They are not sneaking into any parity. They beat Colorado State, but Hawaii beat Colorado State as well. So I still don't really know offensively what to expect from this San Diego State team, where the defense, this will be almost like a low-scoring affair.
We don't know what to expect from the Hawaii defense now either after that performance.
But we're at home.
That's fair. They're
Hawaii
a lot better at home.
So I think we said that in the very beginning, too. And once we started to see San Diego State be pretty good this season, we were saying, all right.
Thank God it's here.
That's where that went into our whole the schedule for Hawaii kind of worked out this year because of where certain opponents were in the schedule for the away games and certain opponents being here at home, like a San Diego State team where the defense, they show up at home. There's a reason why Hawaii has such a good record, ATS, is because a lot of those home games, just like this Saturday, Hawaii is right now odds via BetMGM, the 7-point underdog. I believe they opened as low as 5 via Circus Sports, but I'm looking at BetMGM right now, and Hawaii is the 7-point underdog. Total, no surprise here, a lot lower than what we've seen recently at 51.5. Hawaii is plus 210 on the money line to win, and San Diego State at minus 250. I think this is entirely fair. Touchdown dog. Total is pretty low. I think the defense is going to battle and hold each other's offensive down compared to what we've seen this past game. Oh, but I hate saying Hawaii and the under.
Ew.
I hate saying under. Gross. We just won't even talk about it. We won't talk about it because every time I put it out in the universe, Hawaii and the over, I feel like they ended up losing. So, which is what happened this past Saturday. So we just won't say that.
Well, the
anymore.
over probably hit. I don't know. I was going to say I don't know what the number was, but it feels like they were pushing for maybe 2.
But you got to have both of them. It just doesn't feel the same, especially if they lose
totally
straight up, obviously. But
totally get that.
Come on, let's go. Let's throw a bigger wrench into the Mountain West. And then I'm sure there are other teams like your Boise's, like your
would
UNLV.
Throw a celebration.
They are going to be rooting for Hawaii this weekend because to keep the
rest
parity,
of the conference is you have never seen a bigger group rooting for Hawaii than you will see this weekend as the rest of the conference is like, please end this San Diego State run. All
right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get back to some more UH football coming up in hour number 2. When we come back, though, we're going to close out the first hour getting you caught up with things you may have missed. On top of all the professional and college sports that were going on, there was a lot of high school stuff that happened over the weekend, so we will get you caught up with that when we come back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht Bracked on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel this and every Monday. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, we're going to get back into, again, more UH talk. We'll talk World Series, NFL, all of that stuff. Some basketball, of course, as Paul and I are sporting our HPU basketball shirts because the HPU men's basketball team is in action this afternoon, 4 o'clock p.m. Hawaii time. They're playing at Boise State. Speaking of Boise, but now we talk about basketball because it's hoop season. So you can watch it on the Mountain West Network, or if you follow us on social media, definitely Paul will have your updates via Twitter that you can kind of keep an eye on for when the game time happens, and he'll give you guys updates of that HPU men's basketball game at Boise State. Hoop season. There are a ton of actually games going on in college basketball.
Yeah, happy
today.
opening day.
Happy opening day. Woo! And it'll be almost time for high school hoop season. But closing a chapter now and is on the girls volleyball season. 2 state champions were crowned over the weekend. Shout out to Division I state champion Iolani. They get the title back after a couple of years. It's been like all Iolani and Kapa'a like since Punahou won it in 2014. After that, it's been going back and forth between those two ILH schools. A shout out to Kahuku. Yay!
Woo!
Kahuku, who was able to at least, Iolani did sweep them in the championship, but
they broke through.
Kahuku swept Kapa'a to at least make it to the championship game, so it wasn't an Iolani-Kamehameha matchup for the States, but Iolani just too strong there and sweeping the Red Raiders. So as a Raider on Raider crime, the whole backstory with the Iolani and Kahuku, the uniform thing is kind of interesting. I saw one of our media friends say, I can guarantee you that a team with the name Raiders will win in the championship game.
A team with Raiders and a team with red as part of their school colors.
But Michael Esquero was covering those games. So I want to let you guys, we'll start with Division I. I want to let you guys hear really quick just a clip of the post game featuring Iolani's Bailey Nakanelua with Maddox Tanaguchi.
First of all, coming off of, I guess, last year, to go and get one this year, talk about what that means for your team to, get that championship.
It feels great, and my team, we did it together as one. It wasn't just one player, it was all of us, and we came together and we won and we made history for our school, so it feels really great, and I don't even know how to explain this feeling right now, but all I can say is it's so amazing, and we thank God for everything.
Coach talked about, what is your guys' why, and there's a saying Kauai as why, right? So what does it mean to win this for the Hawaii Island and not only your school? Yeah.
It means a lot. Our why is Kauai, and we played for them tonight, and they were a big part of the reason why we could finish. And so big shout out to our island, and we did it for you guys, and hope to make you guys really proud.
This was your team's first 5-setter of the year, right? I mean, your team was up, 2-0, and then they forced the 5th set. So how did your team kind of figure out how to execute in that 5th set?
We worked really hard this season. We lived, we ran, and we just trusted our training, and it came in handy, and that's how we finished the game.
Last year, you guys played HBA in 5 sets. Coach was saying that was a taste, and then you guys kind of showed respect to them in that state championship, cheering them on. They cheered your team on in this one, kind of talk about just, because this is Coach's second year, so talk about this whole 2-year process.
First of all, I want to say thank you, HBA. You guys were really loud and we could hear you guys, but this being the second year Coach Paya has coached, she's been amazing, and she's a really amazing coach, and she pushes us to the limits that we need to be pushed, and she never gives up on us, either if we're giving her attitude or anything. She never gives up on us, and I love her so much.
I am so sorry, Paul. I totally mislabeled that for you there and for all of our listeners. That was actually Kapa'a outside hitter Carly Kamoku Raposo for the Kapa'a girls that won their first state title. They won the state title for Division II for girls volleyball over the weekend. My apologies, mislabeled on the audio there. We were going to play that as well, but in case it kind of clicked in my head when I heard the Kauai, that's why. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is the Kapa'a one. So shout out Kapa'a.
You're like, did Iolani move?
Yeah. It's like, wait a minute. I wasn't sure which was which, but definitely was. I mislabeled it there for Paul, and yeah, it was just the wrong. But so again, shout out Kapa'a. We're gonna stick. Well, I know we're gonna go up against the clock, but want to make sure we still keep on track with our high school volleyball. So Kapa'a winning their first state championship in girls volleyball as they captured the Division II title, won in 5 sets over Seabury, and as we mentioned, Iolani winning the Division I state title the first time after a couple of years after sweeping Kahuku. So now here is what a couple of the Iolani players had to say in the postgame.
I think it feels really good. We've worked super hard this season, and I think we deserve it. We're super disciplined on what we do, and I think this was our year, and I'm super proud of us.
We knew what it takes to be in the last match and now win the last match. We knew the grind. We knew that it couldn't stop, and so I think all the work just had to pay off, and that's what we showed tonight.
Sounds like that last match of 24 against Miami was on your mind. I mean, how much did that kind of fuel you guys throughout the season and going into tonight's match?
I think we took a tough loss last season, and I think I'm just super proud of us and how we pushed through it, and we used that as motivation, and we didn't let it affect our play. And I think we proved that tonight, and we showed that nothing can affect us, and I'm super proud.
Yeah, I think we were mature as a team. We knew what we had to expect and what we had to do to get here and win it, and we played as a team. We played for each other and together.
This Kahuku team you guys didn't see this year, right? So what were kind of the keys for you guys against them, and how do you feel you guys executed that tonight?
Yeah, Kahuku's a great team. Although we never played them, this is our first time. I think, again, we were super disciplined on what we do, and we trust our coaches and what they give us. So I think we just put it on the court, and whatever they say, we do. So, yeah.
Yeah, also agree that Kahuku's a great team. I think we knew that we had great players. We knew that we can handle anything that comes to us, and just dominating the coach's game plan.
Is it a red or black banner for the state title? And it's been I think a while since the ILH champ has kind of actually won both the ILH and the state. So to kind of get both and wrap up your guys' career, what does it mean?
It's a state title is a black banner, and to get both, I think really just going back to us knowing from last year, what we had to do, not only to win ILH, but to be in this last match and win it. We were ready for it. We wanted to work for it together and individually, and I think just playing together, we said that we would focus on playing for each other and playing at our standard, and so that really showed.
And that was the post game with a couple of Iolani girls volleyball players and Bailey Nakanelua with Maddox Taniguchi. And shout out once again to the newest state champs in girls volleyball, Iolani for Division I and Kapa'a in Division II. Once again, Kapa'a's first state title in girls volleyball. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back for hour number 2 on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den, hour number 2. I'm Ku'ulei Agbayani alongside Paul Brecht on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in this and every weekday morning from 8 to 10 or live every single Monday. We always appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. And I'm happy that we get a second hour to continue to chat about all the stuff that happened this weekend. Hour number 1, we spent a lot of time recapping the UH and San Jose State football game. We'll get back into more football conversation a little later in this hour. We ended it, giving props to Iolani and Kapa'a girls volleyball teams for taking home state titles over the weekend. Talked a little bit of other NFL stuff, which we'll get to this hour as well. And as you heard, Chaz Ontai with the sports report to end that off there, something we barely touched on, and I want to do that now. What a Game 7 in the World Series. I mentioned it in the first hour when we got things started, Paul, and how Saturday was like sensory overload to someone like myself who just loves sports and appreciates a Game 7, especially when it's not my team playing in it, where it's not as stressful and I can just enjoy the fun. And then you had it going at the same time as the UH San Jose State football game. So I had my big TV on the UH game, and then I had the smaller screen with my computer on Game 7, sound on both games, because I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. If I was watching one, I wanted to make sure I could still hear the sound of another to not miss anything of a big play or what have you. And man, you know what? Inject that life into my veins, because I was enjoying every minute of it. And then yelling at one TV when something was happening, and then not really yelling in frustration at the World Series, but just kind of in shock when certain things happen. Like, what is going on? And it was insane. Extra inning baseball game. I know there was kind of a fun little, is this when we were on headset? That's right, on Friday. My friend's saying it's the most exciting World Series since 2016 when the Cubs won. And I initially took it as more exciting than 2016. I'm like, whoa.
Slow down.
Let's slow down here. But you know what? It will not be as exciting as that one. Now, the ratings, as Chaz was talking about, ratings-wise, it's the most watched World Series game since 2017. I haven't seen the comparison to the 2016 year, which I know was big too because of the Chicago Cubs and all of that stuff. But it was very entertaining. I think if I was not a Chicago Cubs fan, I think this World Series probably had collectively more interesting games if you broke it down. We're just going dramatics of Game 7. 2016 still takes the cake because there was the rain delay and the whole pep talk by, it was the whole thing. And I'm a Cubs fan. But
I was going to say, I think you being a Cubs fan also helps.
And the drought was over.
Yes.
All of the storylines were in this one. Clearly, we were rooting for the Blue Jays because I was like, you're going to see the Dodgers win again. But that was the thing. It's like, the Dodgers. So there wasn't that storyline, at least on the Dodgers end, where you're like, this long drought. It's more of, yay, you should win. You paid for your team. And they did. You know what? Ownership cashed in on what they paid for, where it didn't look like that. When we talked about the odds on Friday's show, the Blue Jays were favored to win it all. And they dropped that game on Friday and then dropped Game 7. And there you go. The rest is history. But man, you are a baseball fan like we are in this studio. It was this World Series since 2016 was probably the most entertaining for me to tune into collectively, to keep up with. It was just back and forth the entire series, obviously. And in the games, we had that long game with the 18 innings, all of that stuff. And then Shohei Ohtani not having his best stuff. You have Yamamoto winning the World Series, which congratulations to anyone that cashed in on that.
Dude,
it was like
cow.
double-digit plus money odds because it was like Vladdy and Shohei that were the shortest odds to win the World Series or MVP, depending on which team had won it all. And then you had Yamamoto there who went into pitch, and you're like,
he doesn't know what an off day is.
This World Series, and he had said on Friday there, I was reading some write-ups that it was almost like he was ready to just cheer on his team. Like his World Series was done. Like, okay, I'm going to cheer on my team now. It was so fun. It was a really there is no question as to why the ratings were the way that they were.
Yeah.
Hello, baseball. Welcome back.
It was very, very fun in every single sense. Tyler Kempner of The Athletic actually put out a pretty nice article detailing why this might be the best Game 7 when it comes down to it. And it was an interesting way to put it, where there are 15 winner-take-all World Series games that meet one of 4 criteria, which are the categories to make Game 7 special: extra innings, a winning team overcoming a deficit of at least 3 runs, a team losing the lead in the 9th inning or later, and a golden pitch. Now, 3 of those are very self-explanatory. Golden pitch is something that people might not necessarily be as familiar with. That from Wade Kachevich or something, I don't know, the mayor of Toledo. He talked about it, where golden pitch is the most dramatic situation possible in the sport, the rare instance in which either team can win the World Series on a given pitch, which is what happened at the bottom of the 11th inning on Saturday after Vlad Guerrero doubled. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa sacrificed him to third, and then with the winning run at the plate and a game-ending double play theoretically possible, any pitch to the final 2 hitters, Addison Barger or Alejandro Kirk, could have ended the World Series in either direction, for either the Dodgers or for the Blue Jays. So going back all the way to 1912, 15 instances of a winner-take-all Game 7, this was the only one to ever have all 4 of those happen, which was the golden pitch, extra innings, a lead of 3 runs or greater lost, and a lead lost in the 9th inning or later. Just an by the way, 2016 did have a golden pitch as well, apparently. So, your memory does serve you correctly. It was very, very dramatic in that sense. But it just, an incredible series. It had it all. The stars were stars. The role players played the biggest role. Shout out to Ernie Clement, by the way. That's my guy. We were in a fantasy football league together last year. He set the single postseason record for most hits in a single postseason with like 30 or something. Shout out to him. Love him. Feel bad for him. But yeah, just incredible. Top to bottom, the pageantry, the dramatics, the flair, the star power, everything you could ask for in a baseball game, you got it. And in the end, obviously, it's the Dodgers who come up with the first back-to-back run of championships in a quarter century.
Since your team in the New York Yankees.
I'm fully aware. And Freddie made an interesting reference talking about they don't want to be done yet because they're still chasing the Yankees and the three-peat that the Yankees have. So once again, I have another year to root against the Dodgers. But
it's okay. Next year is the Cubs year. Again, 10 years later, this 2016, 2026.
10 years. How dare you?
And it'll follow, like you said, this was the first World Series. All the things, stars align for a crazy World Series Game 7. First Game 7 in the World Series to go extras since the 2016 Game 7. So it definitely rivals that. And as a Cubs fan who saw her team win in 2016, I even say like it definitely Friday. I wouldn't have said that. Friday I was like, no, there's no way this is like as good of a World Series as 2016, and the Cubs coming back from 3-1 like no way.
But I think that speaks to how amazing Game 7 was.
This was pretty darn good of a, and not just Game 7, but collective.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm
series.
like collectively the series. Yes, you can take account to the Cubs coming back from 3-1 down, but just game after game after game was so entertaining for this World Series of two teams that I didn't really care about at all. Like, you guys know, it's like, oh, the Dodgers are just like the Yankees. If you're not a fan of them, you're going to cheer against them. The Blue Jays, you're like, I know you.
It's been 30 plus years since they won. I could find a way to root for them.
I do love Rogers Center. I've been there before. It's a beautiful stadium. I love it. I like Toronto. All of that stuff, and they have their stars of their own, right? I mean, Bo Bichette was kind of banged up throughout this time, but we saw glimmers of
what a moment
him in
for him, though, as well, with the home run. And that was something else that part of me deeply rooting for the Blue Jays just as a baseball fan, because I loved the storyline and the thought process of like Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero Jr. have been there since it was not good for the Blue Jays. It was kind of, they're in this, they didn't have a direction. And those two came in somewhat together. I mean, it was a year apart, but it was a cool thought to be like, oh man, if one of them has like the moment in the World Series, I can't imagine how special that would have been for Blue Jays fans. So once again, feel bad for Toronto, but also I don't feel that bad because, Yankees fan.
Next year is going to be Cubs Yankees, Paul.
First off, that would be so toxic in here, but that would be so fun. So fun.
I think, and then it would probably explode the ratings even more because you get two iconic franchises in the World Series would just be insane. But a shout out before we go to break, shout out to Mid-Pack, where representation on both sides. Sadly, one of the players, Isaiah Kiner Falefa, on the losing end with the Toronto Blue Jays. And a lot of controversy that comes out of shoulda, coulda, woulda with that run to home plate, the lead that he should have got at home. But it's similar to when we were talking about the UH game, right? It's hard to point at to one specific thing because collectively you could have done all kinds of stuff differently. And the Dodgers were playing phenomenal defense. And that's going to be a play, though, that everyone's going to be remember.
They shouldn't. Because
I don't think so either.
Well, Whit Merrifield, who is a professional baseball player, if you guys are unfamiliar with him, most of his career has been with the Kansas City Royals. I think he's somewhere else now. Maybe he retired. I don't know. But either way, very, very good hitter, guy who high on base percentage, blah, 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 blah. Played the game. He quote tweeted it and kind of talked about it, and he was like, IKF did exactly what he was supposed to do here, and he explained it really, really well, which was, I understand it looks like a short lead, and absolutely was, but in the pros especially, and depending on the teams that you're on, you're taught to only take a lead as big as how far away the third baseman is away when there is less than 2 outs, because on a line drive, if it's hit directly at the third baseman, the last thing you want to do is get doubled up just like that because you're too far off the bag leg. So I thought that was an important explanation given by somebody who's played professional baseball and has been in those conversations and has had those conversations before where, yeah, I understand why it looks bad, and could he probably have gotten a little bit bigger of a lead? Sure, like you're talking about minuscule chances of this, that, and the other thing, but...
And it's one of those, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Because if he did get a bigger lead and it did go to the third baseman,
that's kind of what I'm getting at.
He gets tagged, and it's like, what about the whole, how do you feel about the whole sliding versus running through? Because that was another
I think
thing.
that's way easier for people to say. That's a hindsight thing for me. I hated reading people being like, oh, why did you slide? Because that's what you do in baseball. Because how many times do you see them not slide when they're trying to get to the next base ahead, or when they do it all the time at first base. They think it's faster, so they dive head first into first base so that they can try and get there quicker, even though it's not quicker. It's just a natural thing for him to do. It's a natural thing for baseball players to do. You've done it for the entirety of their lives. And people, it drives me crazy, the hindsight with stuff like that, because I'm like, baseball, especially for a slow-moving game, you have to make such split-second decisions all the time that it's like you just do what's natural. I don't know.
And the Dodgers, like I said, the Dodgers on defense and the Blue Jays, I think that's why this was so entertaining, is because it's hard to be entertained
by... Yeah, the Yankees would have made 33 errors in this.
It's hard to be so entertained by defense and the defensive plays that were being made in the entire World Series and in that Game 7.
Well, they were game-saving.
It was phenomenal. And then you have like the players in the outfield almost taking out each other. There was just so much entertainment all around.
I thought Ernie was going to be a hero. I really thought Ernie was going to be the hero. I was sitting there. I was like, go, 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 go. I'm like, they're going to run into each other. And then he jumps over and catches it so easy. Oh, God, whatever.
Oh, and then the game before, the ground rule double that got lodged into the wall. We didn't even talk about that, which is 100% the baseball rules. And once again, credit to the Dodgers for not even attempting, threw the hands up right away. It is the rule. This is the rule. Like, clearly he could have easily gotten it out of there, but once again, the rule is the rule, and that is just the way that it goes. So all of those little things in all of these games were just like, what are we going?
I mean, we talk about it all the time.
So many talking points from this World Series. It's been awesome.
Championships are won because of the little things, because of little moments here and there, because of a defensive play you made.
Luck.
And that's the thing. Because of luck. I mean, think about... Never mind. I won't go there. It was a very fun World Series. Very thankful we got a full 7 games out of it. And now a long off season. Now I hate the MLB off season because it always drags.
It's going to drag for me now that I know that the Cubs are good again. So I'm like, is it baseball season yet? So I had mentioned shout out to Isaiah Kiner Falefa mid-pack. Also mid-pack, got to give a shout out to Will Ireton, class of 2007 grad, the translator on the Dodgers. So we don't want to forget about him. So he is there alongside Shohei Ohtani because of losing his previous translator. So shout out to Will Ireton, class of 07 mid-pack, and Isaiah Kiner Falefa, 2013 grad from mid-pack. So one guy on the winning end of that, and unfortunately for the other, someone has got to lose. So yeah, shout out the Pueo.
Is he just Shohei's translator? Because they have multiple Japanese pitchers on the roster. Mm-hmm. So is he like also Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki's, or is it just Shohei?
Good question, because I know like when Ippei was there, he was kind of like the translator / handler.
Right. That's kind of why I was asking.
Yeah, I don't know, but I know he definitely is Shohei.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of, I know a lot of people were having fun with the post game because I guess when it ended on Fox, Shohei sounded perfect English saying "thank you very much."
Oh yeah.
Everyone's like, "Wait!"
It was a little.
It was like the
a little too smooth.
It was like the Leonardo DiCaprio Jeff.
Exactly. Whoa, wait.
But everyone knows everyone in Japan speaks English.
Also,
it's just funny.
I saw he was risen up Cam Brink that one time. I remember that photo. I'll never forget. That's a man who speaks perfect English right there. Just when he needs to. He's just smarter than everybody else and understands. I don't want to speak in English as much as as little as I have to.
And at least it gives you a reason to just not speak at all to other people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why it's like perfect. My translator's not here. Yeah. So again, shout out Isaiah Kiner Falefa and Will Ireton from mid-pack. 2 mid-pack grads getting the chance in the World Series, and just one though able to have the championship glory next to Shohei Ohtani. This is wild World Series. Anyways, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk some hoops happening. Happy opening day. I'm just so excited now. Happy opening day for college hoops. There's a ton of games going on today. The most important game for us here in Hawaii, though, is the HBU men's basketball team playing Boise State later on this afternoon, 4 o'clock p.m. Hawaii time, and you can watch it on the Mountain West Network. So when we come back, we'll talk some HBU, and we'll also talk some UH men's basketball as they open up the season tomorrow at Oregon. The guys are already there, have been there since Saturday evening, I believe, and we'll let you hear from head coach Eran Ganot. All of that and more next on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. So you guys can tune in on demand or watch on demand a little later as well. Someone texting in about Kirby Yates on the Dodgers. I'm pretty sure he's still on the Dodgers, but clearly he wasn't on the list of pitchers to be used in that 18-inning game. So
yeah, he's left off postseason rosters.
Oh, okay, so he's left off of the postseason roster. But usually, if they were on the roster during the season, I think you usually get a ring. Yeah, so
he'll get a ring.
Shout out Kirby Yates being able to get a World Series ring. Yes, thank you to the texter for reminding us about that. And Caesar chiming into the live chat saying, sorry, didn't know y'all were going to broadcast an hour early. First of all, Caesar, where are you watching from? Because it's definitely not in Maui, because the clocks did change yesterday. So we're not an hour early. You are just late to something. So clocks clearly don't change here in Hawaii. We are broadcasting at the normal time, but we are now in the... Would this be considered daylight savings or not daylight savings?
I don't know. Don't ask me that. Okay. All I know is that I waited an extra day to fill out my desk calendar because I didn't want to change all of the hours because they'd all be one off. Because that would be really frustrating for me. So I waited until after the time change. So
got it. Yeah. So there we go. We got the time change. I made sure to check what time this morning. And our Boise listener can correct me if I'm wrong. The game in Boise for HPU men's basketball later today will be at 7 o'clock p.m. And I checked, it's this morning that it was 3 hours ahead in Boise. So
yes,
there we go.
It's 4 p.m.
4 p.m. here. Yeah. 4 p.m. Hawaii time. You can watch it on the Mountain West Network. So just real quick, Paul, and since we're up against the clock anyways, man, what can we expect from this HPU team going up and playing at Boise State, a team that was selected to finish third in the preseason poll for the Mountain West. Mountain West, as we've talked about before in men's basketball, especially very competitive, multi-bid conference into the postseason, into the NCAA tournament, yada, yada, yada. Boise, a very strong team for the last few years. But HPU, not a lot of size for this year, but definitely can put up a fight, and well coached by Jesse Nakanishi and staff. But what maybe we can expect from the Sharks against Boise State, and maybe what you can anticipate they're going to look for specifically and to improve on after this game?
I mean, they're going on in. I don't think that was unfounded on them, as they understood that Boise State, as you mentioned, selected to finish third in the Mountain West Conference entering this year. Also, just a strong program overall. They've won 20-plus games for the past 4 seasons, including a 26-win year last year. It's a strong program in general that they think can help them build a foundation for this season. I don't expect them, quite honest. It's an exhibition, thankfully, for HPU. Big opportunity for them to start to figure out how they're going to be able to rebound against teams that are just way bigger than them. Boise State's got 9 players who stand at 6'6" or above. HPU with 3 players who fit that same criteria. One of them a true freshman in Zane Gall, who tonight it's going to be his first ever taste of college basketball action. So, hey, welcome to the big leagues, kid. Obviously, you have Mai Dusanich. He's going to be really, really important. He's one of 3 captains this year for the Sharks. I expect to see them try and play quickly. I expect to see them shoot a lot of threes. I expect to see them fight on the glass defensively, probably a couple of different looks throughout the night to try and see what they can fit in best as a little bit smaller unit. But overall, obviously a tough opening matchup that was purposeful because this trip should prepare them for what is a brutal both non-conference and Pac-West conference schedule when they go onto the continent. Last year, HPU just 3-9 away from the Shark Tank, 2-9 on the continent, and didn't pick up their first win on the continent until, it was late January. So hoping that this trip helps them build the habits that they need going forward to be a lot better away.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, just the overall experience opening up the season on the road. Well, technically, yes, as Paul mentioned, it is an exhibition. So, but nonetheless, then they come back
They're
home.
not treating it like an exhibition, I'll tell you that.
No, but playing that top-level competition, because when we look at the Pac West, we saw how strong Chaminade can be and how hard they played the University of Hawaii Manoa. And Chaminade expected to do well. Hilo, they were second in the Pac West preseason poll. Chaminade at 4. HPU, little under predicted, I guess, but that's fine. The preseason in hindsight doesn't really mean anything. It's how you finish, but it sometimes can be a good indicator. That Pac West schedule, especially when you want to at least take the Hawaii D2 games that you play for just your chances at postseason and just overall pride here. We're going to be facing some steep competition from Chaminade and Hilo this upcoming season. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will talk some University of Hawaii basketball and let you hear from men's basketball head coach Eran Ganot, what he had to say ahead of their road trip at Oregon when we come back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den, Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. It is hoops season. Let's go. This is our version of the sports equinox, Paul, because we have football still going on. And then now hoop season is starting. There's a ton of college basketball games going on across the country. And as we mentioned in the previous segment, the one that matters to us the most is happening this afternoon at Boise State with HPU men's basketball taking on the Broncos, 4 o'clock p.m. Hawaii time. And you can watch it on the Mountain West Network. I was about to say Pac West. I'm like, no. Mountain West Network is where you guys can watch that game, and of course where we will be. Or you can follow Paul on Twitter at 12Brecht, because he will definitely be giving you guys all of the updates as the game goes along. Well, on top of that, we've got UH starting up this week as well. For those of you watching on our YouTube channel, and I will describe it for all of those that are just listening, Well, we have our Laura Beeman bobblehead that is there now in our lower or third frame of our wide shot. She is there looking at the camera and smiling because it is hoops season. So we had to put her up there in front of the football helmet that is still there. So there's our little crossover with hoop season and football season going on with our version of our sports equinox for basketball and football now going on. So I just wanted to share that again about, hey, we got to keep an eye out for our Laura Beeman bobblehead with our football helmet on our YouTube channel. Our Wahine in action at home. Hope you guys come out for that. Hosting Portland State, 7 o'clock p.m. and Hawaii time. And if you guys are on the continent, you can watch it on ESPN Plus. But we hope to see a lot of you fans that are here on Oahu to be there to welcome in the season and cheer on the Rainbow Wahine basketball team as they host Portland State. Now, we'll talk more about that matchup on tomorrow's show and let you hear from head coach Laura Beeman. Want to switch back over to the men's side, however, as the men's basketball team is on the road. They're in Oregon right now. I think they are touring like the Nike facility today or something, which is pretty darn cool. But they play Oregon at 5:30 p.m. Hawaii time. You can watch that one on the Big Ten Network. Just like we were talking about Boise, a lot of basketball fans are familiar with the success and just how good and competitive Oregon is. They did lose one of their top players. Arena is just phenomenal and a good true test to open up this year for the Rainbow Warriors, especially still trying to get maybe their chemistry together individually. A lot of talent that came in for the Bows, but now it's putting it all together and testing themselves against a top team like the Ducks.
Yeah, similar to HPU, an early road trip, except this one actually counts for UH, and this one against an opponent who, I mean, Isaac Johnson said it when we spoke to him last week, that in a sense can help prepare Hawaii for what they would see when March Madness comes around. An awesome opportunity, a rare opportunity for mid-majors, especially at this point. And overall, just a fun one. Like you said, yeah, no Jackson Shelstad, broken hand. He's still recovering. He should be back in a few weeks, but that doesn't really matter to face UH. So, you know, it's nice because he was a all-conference guard in the preseason who will miss things. Darn. They still have an all-conference big man named Nate Biddle. What a name, Biddle. Who also will probably make an impact, though, in this one.
Well, last week, the media had a chance to catch up with the men's team before they went out on the road trip. I was able to see them actually on Saturday morning when they were out there at City Square for the meet and greet. So shout out to Mike Kaya at City Square for putting that on. And I got a chance to just chat with them a little bit before they left. I told Dre to make sure he dunks on somebody, at least in this game. And he like kind of smirked and said, yeah. I was like, come on, guys. But, yes, they had a chance to catch up with head coach Eran Ganot. And here's just a little snippet of what Coach E.G. had to say prior to them leaving on this road trip.
All right, Coach. Preseason practically done. Now it's off to the regular season. After 2 exhibitions, just how's the team feeling ahead of leaving for Oregon?
Well, as you imagine, like we were excited to finally play against other teams with the exhibitions. Now we're excited to get into the routine of game season, our non-conference and traveling together, things like that. So, you know, I'm really pleased with our guys' effort over this challenging 6 weeks with guys in and out. I think we might have to deal with that a little longer, and we'll see how it goes, but that's part of the season. Everybody's going to be dealing with some of that adversity, and, you know, just looking forward to see how this team comes together over the course of the year. And obviously we throwing them right in the fire with a great road trip and a great Oregon team, well-coached, well-balanced, you know, great size, and a tough place to play, which is what we wanted early. Traveling together for the first time to this extent with the group, you know, what a great venue, great history, great tradition, an area we have obviously some fans as well. It has tremendous history, like we talked about. Dan Allman's one of the great coaches in the country, one of the great coaches nationally over the years, and hasn't slowed down. So they're coming off another great year, and they're poised to have another great year. And like I said, we'll get to travel together, go into a tough road environment against a really talented, well-coached team that is impactful on both ends on the glass. And it's going to be an awesome challenge for our guys, and we'll get better, and we'll go from there.
Through 2 exhibition games. Is there anything that's surprised you with the team so far?
It's hard to answer that compared to other years because we have so many new faces, and it'll be kind of normal moving forward that you just kind of, I don't know if there are any surprises really. You want to throw them in the fire. You're still working on combinations. Obviously, we've had guys in and out. I don't know if there were a lot of surprises, to be honest. You know, I think the good thing in these exhibition games, we've had a little bit of everything. We've seen separation on our end. We've seen a close battle. We've seen us play with a lead, lose a lead, come back and finish the game strong. We've had some situations within the game. We've played some, small ball, some half-court defense, and a game of all pressing and trapping. And so that's what you want. And obviously, moving forward with these exhibition games, and we'll continue to look for that. Hopefully, we can bring in some more size, and Division I teams will come here. We'll go there as well to complement different things you might see that'll help us as we open up non-conference. But surprises, not so much. It's hard to, I think you're just immune to the surprise right now, like everybody, and we're in that situation. We're just trying to get more reps together, get on the floor together, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, I mean, Chaminade, even though they're Division II, their style of play and their defensive pressure, do you think prepares you guys for this type of elite opponent where if you blink or even relax for a second, they're going to make you pay for it?
Yeah, I mean, you think you'll see similar pressure with more size, and but there are certain things you can simulate all you want in practice, and I thought that's what was great about the Chaminade game because they might not have been big inside, but they played big on every other position, including the point, and they put size on our guards and things like that, and we've worked for it. Like I said, there's nothing like seeing it live in a game-like atmosphere on the court. So the good thing is we've not only played 2 games together, but we've also played, not in a closed-door situation, but in front of a crowd, got our game day routine. There's little things that you underestimate that you go through that will help us moving forward. And so, every game, every practice is something we can certainly lean back on.
With kind of a rare road trip to begin the season, a lot of new faces for you guys. Can this kind of, in a sense, be a bonding trip? Can this be a trip that you use and almost catapult your camaraderie and chemistry ahead?
Yeah, that's why I'm looking forward to that as well. And this was the rare year where we kind of started off on the road. Normally we'll start off with the rainbow at home. There were facility conflicts, but you've heard me. I'm excited to travel with our group. We've traveled with half the group to Kauai for a team bonding trip, but these trips, especially when you come a long ways from Hawaii and you stay for multiple days, they present some new opportunities, the bus rides, the airport, the team meals, and we've always, when we can, look for team experiences outside of that, which we'll have a couple set up for the guys in this Northwest trip in Portland as we drive to Eugene, things like that. So absolutely, and I guess it's the first time we've traveled with the 13 guys. I mean, we did the Kauai trip with 10, and when you have so many new faces, they're incredibly important to us, and we're excited about that.
And that was UH men's basketball head coach Eran Ganot. Again, that was on Friday. Just a little clip from chatting with the media ahead of their road trip to Oregon, in which they play the Ducks tomorrow. And then it's officially hoop season. Then we're off and running, Paul.
It's the earliest that UH has started a season in program history as well. So, our wishes were granted. You and I have kind of jokingly been like, is it basketball season yet? Is it basketball season yet? Well, the schedule gods have said, damn, fine, take it. Here you go. So, very excited for them to get underway. A really fun team, a deep team, a team that is going to need some time to come together still. Obviously, I wrote it. Actually, I haven't put the article out yet. I'm putting an article out later today. But this is a team that, Gitas missed the first exhibition. Same with Hunter Carter. Aaron Hunkin-Clater missed both exhibitions. There have been illnesses all throughout preseason. So it's going to take some time for them to really coalesce together in the way that we know that they're going to be able to. Going up against Oregon is a really tough test to start things out, but if they're able to compete, and who knows, on the road, if they pull off an upset, then we're having a whole different conversation, but if they're able to go out and compete, that's a really encouraging sign with so many new faces and such a split up preseason. There's a weird 6 weeks in general. I'd be very encouraged by a competitive back and forth game tomorrow.
Yeah, especially, on the flip side, they do come home and play their first Wahine volleyball game beforehand. Shout out to the Rainbow Wahine volleyball team.
I totally forgot about that.
Able to get that split on the road, which is what we said. UC Davis was always going to be difficult. Just keep getting that split on the road to keep yourself in the season, because
in striking distance.
I mean, they were able to be with the top team in Davis last week, so just make it into the tournament, and you at least will. I think I still go down and saying they have the chance, they have the talent. Just limit the errors, get the serves up and over and in to play to at least give yourself a chance. So volleyball won, shout out to them as well. But yeah, basketball in action. The women here at home against Portland State, and we'll talk more about that matchup on tomorrow morning show. Hosting Portland State, 7 o'clock p.m. at the Banco Arena at Stan Sheriff Center. And then tomorrow, the men's team, 5:30 p.m. Hawaii time at Oregon. You can watch it on the Big Ten Network. And then HPU men's basketball, hence why Paul and I are sporting our HPU basketball shirts, are in action work. And if you're just a basketball fan in general, you just pop on any, probably ESPN or something, and you can get a basketball game, because it's pretty much all day long today. The college hoops are in action. We're going to take a break. We'll be back to close it out here on this Aloha Monday on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake up in the den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
This is your favorite song, Paul.
I always love when I don't look at the upcoming music until I'm just about to click it. That's the best. The genuine surprise. It's the same thing with our shirts today. It's the genuine surprise of it that makes it so funny. I would love fries with that, actually.
As I was just talking about how I'm hungry. I had a light and early dinner last night, because at the time I wasn't hungry. And now I'm starving. And then when we went to that other break, it was a slice of Waikiki. And now I should have known better. Then it talks about, do you want fries with that? And now my stomach is just.
You played yourself.
I know.
You
no
played
intent,
yourself.
And I'm just so hungry right now. My stomach is just wanting. Now I want fries, and then I wanted pizza. Well, actually, no. I actually had pizza on Saturday, so I don't really want pizza as much as maybe I want fries now. But.
Either.
This flew by the last couple of hours.
I can't believe we're
There was just so much to talk about. And if you guys missed it, clearly in hour number 1, we talked a lot about the UH football San Jose State game. You can listen or watch it back on demand. We'll start to get into our San Diego State preview throughout the week because, yes, UH fell, but because the Mountain West, the other top teams in the Mountain West in UNLV and Boise State also fell over the weekend, there is still a chance and still the hope that Hawaii can make it into the Mountain West Championship game. But it starts with beating San Diego State. This know about this UH football team is that when they're at home, we will likely not get the defensive performance, especially that we saw this past Saturday. And hey, like I said, I thought Hawaii, and I still think Hawaii is collectively the better team than San Jose State. Sometimes you just have a stinker, and hopefully that was the stinker of the season, and they just realized it, like, whoa, what are we doing? I don't know if they took them too lightly. I don't know what it is. It's something we will never know against San Jose State, but we are legitimately a top team in this conference this season, and they can prove that this Saturday, hosting San Diego State, the number one team in the Mountain West right now. So let's muddy it up a little bit more, Rainbow Warriors in the Mountain West Conference, beat San Diego State, and now we are continuing to have our other conversation once again of, hey, Mountain West Championship game is still very much on the table.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to give this team credit when they deserve it, and I'll continue to criticize them when they deserve it. But I'll say this season, after each time when they've deserved the time, this team has answered the call and come back from the adversity and played good football the next week. That's the true test. It's going to be the true test this weekend against a really good San Diego State squad, but I want to give them the credit, them being Hawaii, the credit in the fact that this season, when it's come down to it, when they have had their stinkers, when they have had their uncharacteristic performances, when they have messed up, they have looked in the mirror and they've done a really nice job of correcting things by the next week, by the next time they take the field, and winning that next game. If they do that again this week, I think we can restart the conversations again of them being a dark horse contender in the conference. Until then, I am going to put it on the back burner, on pause for now, as this is a good team. It's a fun team. It's back to where I kind of expected them to be to begin with, where it's 7-5, 8-4, a little bit above a bowl eligible team, but not quite at Mountain West Championship. I said this before. It kind of reminded me of what Colorado State was last year, where they had a really fun year, really good year, but ultimately when it came down to proving if they were ready to be a conference contender or just somebody on the doorstep knocking, they proved that they were a team who still was on the doorstep knocking. And to this point, it feels like that might end up being what this Hawaii fate is. They can change that narrative, though, if they come out and put up a strong performance against a team that nobody in the Mountain West has been able to really put up a strong performance against.
Yeah, and we mentioned this in hour number one, but we'll mention it again when it comes to San Diego State. If Hawaii can come out with a win, San Diego State also still has to play Boise State, who would still be competing for one of those top two spots in the conference. So that's why it's still very much wide open. UNLV, another top team in the conference, is someone Hawaii has to play after San Diego State / bye week, and then going over to Las Vegas, which that game, though, yeah, you don't even know who's going to win. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the favorite is in that game. If there is any matchup ever in conference, this would be it. Like, home field advantage matters probably the most. Other than that, nothing else matters, because it seems like the home team for that series tends to come out with victories no matter how good or bad each program is throughout the season. So Hawaii needs to make sure that they rewrite history in that sense and be able to beat UNLV. But yes, got to take care of business first with San Diego State, because like we mentioned, they still got to play Boise State. That is going to be a home game for San Diego State, so a little bit better for them in that facet. But they also do have to welcome in San Jose State after that. For San Jose State, with their potent offense, if they can penetrate that really good San Diego State defense, like, we still got a lot of football to play in the Mountain West.
A lot of football
so
to play.
Hope isn't completely dead yet for a Mountain West Championship berth or game berth, but you
just a lot more difficult now.
Definitely need to prove yourself, like you said, prove that you are a top team for sure by beating the top team in the conference in the San Diego State Aztecs coming in. Before we close out, I want to make sure, I forgot to mention this, going back to the San Jose State game, the unofficial. So San Jose State, you get game one of the unofficial Hawaii Bowl that I had tabbed last week, because I know this matchup has been for the Dick Tomey Legacy Trophy, as it should be. But the secondary thing, as long as the coaches remain is kind of what I'm getting at. As long as this coaching staff remains with San Jose State and Hawaii, this will, to me, be the unofficial Hawaii Bowl because of all of those Hawaii ties and both teams staying in the Mountain West. So that we'll continue to see this matchup for at least next year. I don't even want to get way ahead of myself with everything changing in college sports, but these two teams at the very least will stay in the same conference. So, but it was fun. A lot of Hawaii representation on both sides. Those watching on YouTube, we mentioned this last week, and Christian Shimabuku did a write-up on this with Chad Kapanui, the quarterback's coach for Hawaii, taking a photo with his family and his son, Champ, who was on the other side of the game for San Jose State, and then a bunch of Hawaii players and San Jose State players taking a photo post-game where, once again, it's the unofficial Hawaii Bowl, and of course the Dick Tomey Legacy Trophy game that will make it a lot, the game that will continue to be circled on the calendar as the Mountain West moves forward, and Hawaii and San Jose State will be members of the Mountain West for the foreseeable future, and we'll see with the coaching staffs hopefully staying intact, at least ours anyways, for as long as we can see with everything happening right now. I mean, imagine if they turn around the season and never mind. I don't want to think about that. Whew. Football, basketball.
The sports equinox.
Yeah, our version of the sports equinox for sure. I can't believe it. It's been a fun one. But yes, again, this afternoon, HPU men's basketball in action at Boise State, 4 o'clock p.m. Hawaii time. You can watch it on the Mountain West Network. Paul will have your coverage as well. You can go to our website for a write-up on the Sharks as well. But for now, we got to go. For Paul Brecht, I'm Ku'ule Ugbayani. Mahalo for listening and watching. It's been Wake Up in the Den. Bye!
1, 2, 3. Your home for USC Trojans football. KG.